special edition of the Digital Transformist today. I interviewed CEO of Best Money Moves, Ilyce Glink, live from the HR Tech Show at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. Talk about the industry, about what's happening with the future of technology and HR and what's available and all these different kind of cool topics. And unfortunately, I forgot the microphones back in the hotel room. So you've got the iPhone microphones working, a little bit of noise reduction, the best we could. But it's a great conversation. Enjoy.
All right.
All right. Hi, I'm Mike Lissa. This is the Digital Transformist. I'm here with Ilyce Glink at HR Tech 2024. And I'm reminded that we were in Las Vegas in a different location. Was it 2017, 2018?
2017.
So to your eye, what's different here in 2024? We should pay attention to.
I think everybody is AI here. So when you walk around, what you're seeing is there are, every sign is like AI this, AI that. The real question for people who are looking at HR tech solutions is it real AI or is it fake AI? I think there's different levels of AI. You and I've had this conversation before where not everybody who says they have AI truly has it. Unlike us, thanks to
we have some AI, yes.
We do.
Well, so as we walk through it, everything's AI powered. Everything is the modern HR workplace buzzword. But what's really happening in 2024? Like you had a post this morning on LinkedIn about trends. What do you see as like what's really important?
So one thing that is super important that I think everybody needs to be aware of is that this idea that you're going to have a point solution or a band-aid for every problem that's causing issues for your employees, I think is kind of everybody's moved away from that, or they're starting to move away from that. Why? Because when you have a point solution, what ends up happening is you need 5 or 10 options, and then you have to go through a whole vetting process. And then once you do that, you then have to book time with legal. You go back and forth with the vendor, and then finally you're ready for implementation, and then finally you're ready to introduce it to your employees. Multiply that by 15 or 20, and you realize why HR is always strapped for time and overly stressed, and why they keep looking for more things to solve individual problems. The new trend that I'm seeing is that people are looking for a platform that can really encompass or already has built in best-in-class solutions so that they can say one contract, one negotiation, one implementation, everybody's happy.
Right, because it's so difficult. We've seen the sales cycle on something. It takes a long time because there's so many different stakeholders, so many people involved. And I think if anything, it seems like the message is finally hitting home. Like, what do you think about, what about the message behind financial wellness is one of those platforms? What finally got people's attention, do you think, that moved the needle?
It's funny, I think the world kind of got caught up in COVID for 4 years, and as they were coming out, what they were hearing is that their employees were really, really struggling, and they wanted to find a way to make things better, because that's what HR does, right? HR is there to sort of help smooth it over and make things go well. But there were not great options. There were, again, these point solutions. Well, we can give you early wage access, and you want a credit builder loan, and over here you want a savings plan, and over here you want different 401k options, right? So this idea when you look out in HR tech land, right, and you're saying, how does this all help employees, or how does this help HR do things better? I think that the companies that are really starting to win the game are the ones that are actually identifying the problems, that have now gotten their solutions in place, and employees are growing into it. And so I would say talent acquisition was a big one.
Sure.
So during COVID, you had all kinds of people switching jobs and moving around, and there was a huge amount of turnover. That was a problem for employees. Then you have employees who just wouldn't retire, and then you have employees who couldn't get out fast enough. So there was managing all of that, managing the influx of new regulations from the government. Required a whole different set of tools, and I think you're seeing the benefits of that with some of the platforms that are here now.
Well, it's really interesting, and I find myself looking for platforms for my company, and it's confusing and frustrating, and it's hard to figure out what's going to make a difference. And then, I don't know if you've experienced this, we probably have 7 or 8 platforms that all overlap a little bit. Like, God, I wonder if we could go down to 6, and then you pull one little piece of the puzzle out and it falls apart, which is why the conversation is so much more from a management point of view, just listen to that. It's really interesting.
I think that, there's, in the 7 or 8 years that I've been hanging around the HR world, right? what I've seen is a whole lot of consolidation. And I think a lot of it stems from how these kinds of projects get financed and how these ideas come to life. So you have VCs put in money, and after 2 years, they want you to hit certain milestones, or you're going to run out of money. So for companies back in 2017 and 2018, you got your VC money, then COVID hit and made it really tough to hit those milestones. So you saw a lot of consolidation. The big guns kind of pulled the best of the technology pieces, and then a whole new group of people sprang up once interest rates dived, right? VCs said, wow, I can really make more on my money. They dived in, they started funding a whole bunch of new companies, and then you saw those companies 2 years later, when you're still in COVID, they were having issues. What I'm seeing today are new names, but also bigger companies that have bought and incorporated these smaller vendors, making what I think of as significant strides in trying to solve the problems, make it easier for HR, and allow employees more engagement, more access. One trend you're seeing is that employers are looking for more engagement, and they're looking for proof of engagement. So all talk, no engagement, that's going out the window.
Right.
I think they're really sort of putting the pedal to the metal for that, and looking for it.
You know what I find really interesting is I feel like engagement used to sort of mean like engagement really only with us, the company, but it turns out as an employer, like there's a benefit to having engagement through other means, like these other products. We're having conversations about your finances, we're having conversations about your life. Now we're kind of intertwined a little bit. Have you seen that change take root?
I just think it's gotten more pronounced, right? And I also think that, bigger companies, and I'm most attuned to, of course, the financial wellness world, right? Where you have two words that everybody uses, to mean a whole bunch of different things, from I'm going to sell you insurance to here's a savings program. But what I've seen in my world in particular is that companies are becoming more attuned to the idea that you need to have personalization of all benefits to have it matter. And this is where AI, to get back to that original point, this is where AI, I think, can really play a huge part, because it can take the data that you're collecting and it can really elevate it and pull things together and provide context and meaning and really push those employees towards the kind of engagement you want to see. I know that for us, we've started with AI, thanks to your team, but I know that we've got a lot to go, further to go, because what I want to do is find a way to, again, provide even more context, bring in even more personal data, and then really help people elevate their own financial well-being to a place of stability and peace.
Well, it's great. And I think from the technology side, one of the things we see a lot is there's a growing expectation from people in general that what I will see will be personalized, it will be for me, and really anything that appears out of context or not a fit just sort of brings up a flag, like, does this product know who I am? Even though they recognize it as a product. It's cliche, but what gets recommended to you on Amazon gets bought. It gets recommended to, if it's a fit. And so AI is really, really good at kind of condensing a world of facets of your data into, these might be the things you want to see, and now people are grateful for that. I think if you remember the time when people were worried, it felt creepy to have stuff like that. Now that genie's out of the bottle, that's what we all expect.
Oh yeah, I mean, the whole issue of privacy, if you look at the numbers around Gen Z and what they think of privacy, is they don't even think about privacy. Yeah. They just expect that the trade-off for getting what they want when they want it is their data. And they seem perfectly willing, because it's not cash out of pocket to pay that.
Right. Yeah. I'm curious, just kind of going into your finite area of expertise. Interest rates are high. What has some of the advice been on the platform about? What should normal consumers be doing about their finances?
Interest rates being high is a problem in two ways. If you're carrying credit card debt, you're paying 19, 20, 25% on that every single year. And it's really, really hard to get any amount of debt paid off at that level. If you're trying to buy a house, high interest rates make it nearly unaffordable. On the other hand, we have a lot of people nearing retirement, and they're thinking, I'm buying a bond. I'm buying a 5 and 6% bond for 10 years, and hopefully it doesn't get called.
Right.
So there's always two sides to the coin, and people pay different prices. And what we do on the website is to try and help you solve for whatever it is that problem is, wherever you are in your life. And so housing is actually an issue not just for buying a home, but also renting property. We saw this pop up initially in Denver about 5 years ago. People were measuring stress around housing at a really, really high level. And they were like, what's going on in Denver? And so I went out there to talk with some of our customers and talked to some of the employees, and it turns out it was not enough houses were there, and people were having a hard time finding stuff that they could afford. And Denver was a traditionally reasonably priced place. But the pandemic has changed everything, and it's not. And places like Denver and Boise, have joined San Francisco, LA, and New York and Boston as being very high-priced, difficult to live in kinds of communities. We are a beacon for that kind of data, right? Best Money Moves is a place where employers can really catch some unusual insights that can really help change things. And so one of our customers in Denver started a program to help people find affordable rent because we sort of said, hey, I think your people are having a real issue with this. And they said, yeah, that's what we've been hearing.
And what was the outcome? What was the path you went?
Yeah, and so, we just provided that insight to them and said, hey, I don't know if you realize this, but about 80% of people who use our platform are saying, housing is an issue, and it's really all around rent. And that's when they went and they found local resources to kind of come in there and help fill that.
I'm curious because I probably should have started here, but one of the stats about what you can bring to an organization that blew me away was, I think you'll correct me, something like employees with financial stress are spending like 7 hours a week on calling the credit card company, calling the gas, all that kind of thing. And just imagine the productivity loss. Like, talk about those numbers and what that really is.
Yeah, what people don't even realize is how negatively impactful poor financial management is. I mean, people are struggling with their money, and so they will spend 5 to 7 hours of work time per week trying to manage their money. They are far more likely to be addicted to either drugs or alcohol. They're far more likely to be overweight, have chronic illnesses. They're far more likely to have cardiovascular issues, basically a heart attack from the financial stress. They don't sleep well, so they come all groggy and annoyed, and you know how that goes over in a company.
Sure.
So all of these things kind of play together, and they're much more likely to have chronic illness. Well, when you look at a company's healthcare plan, right? And most of the big companies in the country are what's known as self-insured, right? So their insurance is their own. They're paying for it and they're managing it, the cost. So every time somebody has a heart attack or develops diabetes, that's really troubling. So what they found is if you can start to manage financial stress for employees, if you can bring that stress level down, you do start to have an impact over time on healthcare costs and outcomes, which is really, what you want.
Right.
And so what we've recognized is that we can play a role with healthcare companies. We can play a role with platforms that deal with the management of those dollars, and we want to help.
What I love is a lot of it's proactive too. So this isn't just, like you're going to the hospital because you've had your third heart attack. It's how do we pay that debt down? What are strategies for how to get that? And then with AI, how do we tailor it to be your solution?
Right, and that's really all about this personalization and contextual stuff that we provide. In our new version, 3.0, what we did was we really expanded the taxonomy. We had always been measuring financial stress in like 14 categories, but we broke that out because we realized that, family and money conversations are different than romantic family and money conversations. For example, people were searching for, cars, boats, and other vehicles. And so we thought, that was something worth breaking out. So if you can personalize and you can give people more detailed information when they need it, you really do go a long way towards getting people to engage and solve these problems.
Well, so maybe kind of a final pointer. Here we are at the Equifax booth here. Talk about what the integration and partnership is like and what that means.
Yeah, so Equifax offers a number of different solutions. They have the Work Number, obviously, and they have something called Workforce IQ. That takes all kinds of data from your credit history, from a company's employees' credit histories, depersonalizes it, and puts it into statistical numbers and presents it back in like a 40-page report. And what they were finding is that people were in trouble financially. They are in trouble. I mean, if you look at the numbers, 64% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. here we are, the richest country in the world, and we have a problem where 2/3 can't meet their bills at the end of the month. And that translates again into lost productivity, into higher levels of turnover. You have people who are just crossing the street for 10 cents an hour. And so they looked around. We've been a long time content partner with Equifax, and they said, okay, what you got? And so one of the things that we've been working on with them is taking this new version of Best Money Moves and finding a way to bring that to more of their clients in a way that's branded, customizable, configurable, and actually meets the needs of the employees of the company where it's being delivered. And so we're working with them on that, and we hope to bring it forward.
It's so fascinating. I was talking with someone who's involved in their kind of identity protection stuff today, and the threat. I asked them, like, what's the scariest threat out there? And we talked about AI, and AI is now writing all the phishing emails that we get, right?
Yeah.
And I proposed, like, I would imagine that a distracted, financially stressed employee is more likely to miss the context of a phishing scam, and everything's just all kind of intertwined. So it really makes sense as a product here.
Well, not even is it a phishing email, Mike, but I have actually heard AI voice ordering.
Oh, sure.
And so they're going to be calling you, and you literally will not be able to tell that isn't your son or daughter or brother or mother.
Or boss who told you to send them the credit card. Yeah.
That's right, your credit card details, or needs your passport number for that international trip you're going to be taking. So when you look at cybersecurity, we feel that cybersecurity is such a huge threat to financial security that we, as you know, built it into Best Money Moves 3.0. We are the only financial wellness platform that has brought a measure of cybersecurity and password security to the table, so that when people are thinking about their money, they're thinking about protecting it. So what we do is, of course, we figure out, you can put in any email address you want. We're going to pull up how compromised that email address is, and then we're going to let you click on and change your password right then and there.
Yeah, because I occasionally I do get those still, and if you don't take care of it, then all of a sudden your information's out there in the wild, and it's terrifying.
Yeah, it is really terrifying. In fact, I have an email that I use for demo purposes where if you pull it up, I get like a terrible score because I've got, 400 of these that have been compromised, and, the password needs to change. So
that's it. So for people for whom this is interesting, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Sure. Go to our website, bestmoneymoves.com. You'll soon see something very exciting popping up on the website, but it's there. We'd be happy to do a demo, or you can always call Mike because he knows me.
Both work just fine. And come by and see us, here at the Mandalay for the next couple of days.
Yeah.
And if you like this kind of content, hit that like button and subscribe. And thanks for watching.